More analysis from Ergun Kirlikovali is a board member at the Turkish Philanthropy Funds and joins me now via Skype from Irvine, California. Thank you very much for joining us. So what did you make of the results of Sunday?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I'm very much impressed by this election because 88% participation is probably a world record. And the campaigns were vast, diverse, energized, creative, and robust, of course, safe. And all of those put together, I think it's a lesson in democracy for the rest of the world. So I, as a Turkish American, I'm very proud of these elections. That said, I would say that it is time now to heal all the divisions and move forward with determination and unity. There has been a lot said during the campaigns, a lot of hard words, but all of that is behind us now. I lived through many, many elections in the United States since President Carter, and it's always the same here. The moment election is over, there's a concession speech, and that speech is uniting, and it says, let's move ahead together, work for the better of the country. I hope and I wish the same happens in Turkey from this point onwards.
Well, when you talk about the uniting, especially throughout the elections, we saw alliances coming together, ideologies that have never come together before in the past. So do you see these alliances really can turn into a sustainable relationship?
They can if they stay loyal to the principles around which they were formed. If you stick to the principles, the values that we all cherish, like democracy, rule of law, human rights, things like that, and of course justice, of course in economy too. If you stick to the principles, I think they can work. When you get down to the nitty-gritty, then you can see separations. As you know, there's a very good saying in English, "A devil is in the details." So I think it's important to realize that you should not be overwhelmed by the details and stay true to the principles.
Well, now looking that the Prime Minister's post is abolished and the President has more power and more duties to perform, what challenges lie ahead mainly for him, do you think?
Well, biggest challenge will be to convince the rest of the world, especially the Western world, especially the United States and Europe, that his powers are not absolute, they're checked, and they're balanced. The West wants to see that. They want to see that the president can be checked if he makes a mistake. That's what they want to see, and that's a huge, huge risk and threat for the for Erdogan presidency. Every turn of the way, he will be hit with allegations, oh, dictatorship and this and that. He has to come through and say, look, I got the mandate from the people, and I'm perfectly within the law. And if I do anything wrong, we have a very robust justice system. But he has to convince the rest of the world that that is the case.
So a hard job lies ahead of him. So lastly, why do you think there is little support for the governing AK Party amongst Turkish Americans?
Well, because I guess we're not very happy with allegations of wrongdoing, injustice. We're not too happy with Parliament being taken out of the equation, and the government, the president simply running the country with executive orders. We don't feel comfortable with it, but we're ready to be convinced that we're wrong. It's just that maybe because we live in the United States, where the president is checked very well by the justice system and the Congress, we feel kind of dubious, for lack of a better word, that the presidential powers are checked in Turkey. I hope they are, and I wish they are, but it's up to the president and the Turkish people to convince the rest of the world that that is the case.
Just looking that now you're in the US and basically US has the presidential system, do you see similarities to the plans proposed for the system now in Turkey and that it can work?
Yes, it can work because it worked very well for the United States, and it's almost quarter of 2.5 centuries. It worked very well. Yes, there are some pitfalls, but nothing insurmountable. And I think this presidential system, with everything sort of concentrated in the president's government, will frankly make Turkey fly now. Nobody can hold them back now. The sky is the limit for Turkey now. Well,
thank you very much for that insight there, Ergun Kirlikovali, and joining us here on TRT World.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.